Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. We just finished up another homeschool year about a week or two ago, and since I'm getting ready to start planning for our new homeschool year, which will actually start next month, we don't take a very long break, I wanted to share with you what we're going to be using for language arts next year for 7 kids. Did you catch that? I'm going to be homeschooling 7 kids next year. Well, next month actually is what I should be saying. I am getting to have less and less children every year, although next year I'll still be at 7 kids, but then the following year is when I'll be down to 6. And at one point I was homeschooling 10, and I know that 7 still sounds like a lot to people, but to me it's just like, wow, this is getting easier and easier all the time. So anyway, if you've been to my channel before, you know that I share my curriculum choices a lot. And you might also notice that my curriculum choices might not change as much as those of other homeschooling channels. And to me, that's a good thing because it means that what we are using is working. So there are a few changes from what I had started to do last year at this time with my kids, but a lot of the things are still the same. So while on other channels you might see, new crisp curriculum, what you're going to see a lot of times here are those dog-eared curriculums, because I do tend to get resources that I can use for more than one child. And again, if it's working, why get rid of it? So actually though, I'm going to be starting out next year with more language arts curriculum choices than what I did last year. Last year, our homeschool was still very, very simple. Now I am still a relaxed homeschooler for sure, but I did add some more things in for this year simply because we were able to. Last year, we were kind of on survival mode. We had one catastrophe after another happening. I know, and with what everyone is going through right now, it's hard to believe that last year could have been worse. But although this year is bad, personally for us, we were more impacted by some of the things that were happening to us last year. So yeah, our language arts and a lot of our curriculum was very basic at that point. So I'm only too happy now to be able to just start adding in some more things with my kids, which I'm going to share. Now, first of all, I just want to let you know, this is going to look like a lot, but I want you to keep in mind, this is for 7 kids, so not all of the kids will be using every single book, and I'm going to try to be clear about who's using what. And I also want you to remember that we don't do all of the workbooks or all of the curriculum resources every single day. Some of them, yes, are a daily thing, but a lot of them we might do like twice a week or maybe like once a week. So just keep that in mind. I don't want you to be like, she calls herself a relaxed homeschooler. This looks like it's way over the top. It really, really is not. So first of all, for all of my kids who are up through middle school, we are still going to be using Natural Speller for their spelling. I don't use the activities that are in here. I know there are a lot of really great activities that they have listed in here, but for us, they were just kind of schoolish, and I try to stay as far away from that as possible because it just doesn't work for my kids, and it's a little bit frustrating for everybody. So what I do like about Natural Speller is that it has fantastic spelling lists for every grade. I think it goes up through 8th grade. So all that we do is I just take 10 words a week. So every Monday my kids get 10 new words, and then every day they have a little composition book. They write their spelling words 3 times each, and it has immensely helped them with their spelling. Something as simple as that. So again, the spelling is up through 8th grade. So for language arts, we are actually using something different. Last year we were using dailygrams, and my 14-year-old daughter asked if I could get something a little bit more detailed because she wanted she wanted more practice than what Dailygrams was giving her. So I decided that I was going to get her the language arts book that I had used with my older kids who are in their 20s now, way back when we started homeschooling, because I did like them. So before I went and ordered hers, I asked the other kids if they wanted to stick with Dailygrams or if they wanted to try what she was going to be trying. And so they all wanted to try what she was trying. I think sometimes change is good. And so what they're going to be using is my kids from elementary through, actually my daughters in 9th grade are going to be using these, who makes them? I don't even know. Harcourt Family Learning Language Arts Workbooks. So they only go up to 8th grade. So even though my 14-year-old is actually going to be entering 9th grade, I'm not really a stickler for that. They're really nice. They're colorful. They have good exercises for the kids. And, you know, if it's something that she specifically wants to do, something that she chose to do on her own, I'm all for it. And yes, I could go out and I could get, you know, like a 9th grade homeschool curriculum, but we really don't need something that is going to be huge. She just kind of wanted a workbook to practice in. And so for me, if she uses an 8th grade one, it's fine. It's still good enough practice. And I don't really know how much of a difference there would be anyway. So anyway, that's for language arts. Now, my daughter who will be going into 11th grade, she actually will not be using that. She chose to stick with the Life of Fred language arts books. She used the first 2 Life of Fred language arts books already, so she'll be using Life of Fred Classes and Life of Fred Dreams next year. Life of Fred, if you're not familiar with it, they also has a math curriculum, which we used to use the math curriculum, but it is a literature-based resource. So there is more reading to be done in it, and it's based on a story, on a fictional story about a little boy named Fred. And then at the end of each chapter, there are some questions for them to answer, and that's really what the math curriculum kind of looks like as well. I did review the math curriculum way back when, so I'll link that in the description box in case you wanted to see what the math curriculum looks like. But that's what my soon-to-be 11th grader will be using for language arts instead of the Harcourt workbooks. So now my daughter who's going to be going into 2nd grade, I still want her to have a little bit more practice on her printing. I think that she just needs to start writing a little bit more legibly. So she's going to be using the print handwriting workbook for kids. She did start using it already. She's done a few pages of it, but we're just going to continue using it until she finishes it. So my other kids are all going to be working on their cursive, and it's something that we actually stopped for a couple years because, again, we were kind of in that survival mode, and cursive just really, it didn't make the list of things that must be done. But now that we are able to do it, I do feel that it's very important for children to learn cursive. So my kids are back on that again. So all of my kids in elementary up through middle school are using this cursive writing workbook. And I did a review of this, I'm pretty sure, on another video. I'll link that in the description box. So again, they've already been working in it, but they're just going to continue working through until it's finished. Now for my older kids, that one is a little bit easier for them. So what I have my soon-to-be 9th and 11th graders doing, and again, they already started this, is Learning Cursive Handwriting Practice Workbook for Teens, the Declaration of Independence, and United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. So I loved that it had some history thrown in there, especially about the Constitution, something that I think a lot of people need to learn about right now. And so it has a lot of copy work from the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and it has a lot of practice in the beginning for those who still aren't sure about their letter formation yet. And I do have to add that the one that my younger kids are using, it also has some of the same resources in the back. I was noticing when I went through here that there was some copy work. Like here we have from the Gettysburg Address, famous quotes from the American Revolution. So this one has some really handy historical passages to use for copywriting also. Now, reading, if you're going to talk about comprehension, we don't do reading comprehension books. For us, comprehension is oral narration while I'm doing read alouds with my kids. Or when they are doing their silent reading books, they will come up to me afterwards and they will tell me what their book is about. And a lot of times it's not even because I ask them. Some of them will just come up to me and start talking to me about the book because they like it. Or they might say, should I tell you what I read about today? So I honestly think that that's a more organic way to see if your kids are understanding what they're reading. Now, since my 7-year-old, I don't have her doing silent reading yet, just because, you know, she just learned to read. This is so old looking because we've used it for a lot of kids. I'm still working through Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons with her. She is reading. I could probably stop using this right now and just have her start using, you know, like the little easy readers that they have for kids. But I prefer to just continue using this for the time being, just to get her a little, you know, to give her a little bit more practice on some of the letter sounds and the letter blends and things that, consonant blends, things that she hasn't learned yet. So while the other kids are doing their silent reading, she will still be working on this. I don't think that I'm going to actually finish it with her. She's already about halfway through it. I might just do it maybe for maybe a couple months at the beginning of the school year, and then I might have her start reading on her own. I've never actually had to go all the way through all 100 lessons with any of my kids. I always got to pretty much about where she is right now, or a little bit past that, and my kids had the confidence to just start reading on their own. So that's what I'm assuming is going to happen with her as well. At least that's what it looks like so far. Now, all of the things that I have shown you so far, I haven't told you how often they're going to be doing them. The spelling I did mention is every day. I should say 4 days a week, because we have 1 day a week where we usually do something different. Sometimes it might be a nature study day. Sometimes it might be a movie day. Other times it might be a craft day. Or I was even thinking of having that 5th day out of the week be our animal notebooking day, because my kids used to love doing their animal notebooks. I'm going to see if I can reach the one. It's right here. My kids love doing their animal notebooks. Another one. This is like really, really old. But this was something that was always a big hit with my kids. And it's something that we stopped doing when we got the fun schooling journals, but I'm kind of missing them. And I think that they're a really good way to teach kids research skills, and just for them to, you know, get some artistic skills into what they're learning about. And, you know, it really is nice for self-directed learning, because they're the ones that are choosing, you know, what the animals are that they're going to be learning about, and what exactly they're going to write about, whether they want to write a comic strip or a creative writing story, or do copy work out of a book about that animal. So this could actually count as language arts too, because they're writing and researching. That will probably just be that 1 day a week thing though. Now, the language arts books that I showed you, the Purple Harcourt language arts and the Life of Fred language arts, that will be twice a week. It will not be every day. It will be twice a week. The cursive though will be every day. I have a morning basket that has all of the stuff in that my kids can do on their own. I did do a video about that. I will also link to that in the description box. So the cursive writing, they will not need my help with at all. So typically they'll be done with this and their spelling before we even start our homeschool day. They usually set out and do that stuff earlier, you know, before we actually start our routine. So anyway, and then so we have the language arts 2 days a week. The other 2 days out of the week, my kids are going to be working in fun schooling journals, which, yeah, again, they started working in this year. So a bunch of my kids are using the All About Pets Minecraft fun schooling journal. So they will be working on that. And that, yes, it also has a lot of language arts type pages in it. Not all of the pages in this are language arts, but a lot of them are. So that's why I included it in the language arts here. And it even has them writing like creative writing stories and things like that. And it even has cursive in here also. But anyway, so this will be twice a week. And this is my 7-year-old's. She has a spelling fun schooling journal. And yes, again, I already did a video on these. I'll link to that. This is my 14-year-old's. And my my daughter, who will be going to 11th grade, she's actually been working in an animal fun schooling journal, but we're not sure if she's going to do that or if she's actually going to start the do-it-yourself high school homeschooling handbook. This one I just did an unboxing for. I have not actually done a review of this one yet because we haven't done this one at all yet. So if she does start this, we'll have that like upcoming within the next, I'd say, few months, because I would want her to use it for a while before I would do a review on it. And also, you know, since we do so many unit studies, very often I will work language arts activities into the unit studies, you know, whether they're writing reports or if they're writing lists or if they are writing, you know, stories with story prompts. You know, there's a lot of really fun ways to work language arts into your unit study. So that's another way to get that reinforcement in with your kids in ways that don't always have to look like, you know, just that typical sit down desk learning. And you know, that's really what I want for my homeschool. I don't want it to be something where you just sit in one spot and just do nothing but writing for hours. Because to me, that's not really the best way for my kids to learn. At least they're very active. They like to move around a lot. They like to do things with their hands. So I do try to incorporate as many different methods of learning into our homeschool as possible. But anyway, I think that I remembered all of our language arts curriculum choices for next month. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram because YouTube disabled my comments. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.